What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, but I just got home off of an early morning flight, right? First thing through the door, I want to see my family. I love my family. You know, I'm a family man. I'm an advocate for families, right? Second thing, I got to get that hot shower because I got to throw the threads on. The threads make me feel like $1,000,000, but the third thing through my mind and all throughout the trip is that I gotta have that Tej pack. Tej makes my life uncomplicated. It's uncomplicated skincare for men. The first way that I started specifically was their level 1 system. It's a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin. 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells. An AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun. And a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Here's the thing. My favorite part about Tej Henley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really making the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin for men uncomplicated. In addition to amazing skin, members of Tej Henley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, you can pause and cancel at any time, and you get free shipping. And because Tej Henley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal, right? Just click the first link in the description and you get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. It's an amazing deal. You got to get started today. You're not out here trying to look like a dusty. And if you travel as much as I do, which I'm sure most people don't, but you know me, I'm pushing my bag chasers in order to be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 1%. We got to make our lives uncomplicated, and Tej Henley is no better product. You got to look good. You got to smell good. And you can't be looking like a dusty. Make sure you get started today. Click the link in the description. Get that Tej pack. Feel the Tej, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm your host, Anton Daniels. Did a little bit of a pivot today because, as you guys know, I was supposed to be in Atlanta this afternoon, but I decided to cancel that flight. And me and the Revolt people are actually just going to do the show remote. So one of the reasons why I decided to cancel it is because today is my anniversary. So I'll go into that in a little bit, but I got to do a little bit of the housekeeping. Shout out to Cliff Williams, my first super chat of the week, says, Wagwan, big bro. This weekend was fun. It was fun. We had a lot of fun over on Fight Club. We had a lot of fun just having conversations and chopping it up. And if y'all not a part of the Fight Club gang, make sure that y'all tap into the description or just go to my channel and look at, all of the different platforms that I'm a part of. The Anton Daniels channel, the Millionaire Morning Show channel, Fight Club, Q. Got my girl Lux. We're going to be dropping a lot of new content this week. And then I also am dropping a completely new channel. And so let me give you all a little bit of an insight of what the new channel is, because I want to go ahead and get the housekeeping out of the way, and then we're going to cook. So the new channel probably will drop sometime this week, midweek. And it's going to be a combination of sports and betting, okay? It's going to be a combination of sports topics, covering everything. I'm going to bring in some of my friends, some of you guys. Hopefully I can have some panel discussions, and hopefully I can bring in some of my famous friends that spans across all industries, including football and basketball, right? But then I'll give you an opportunity to be able to bet against me if you don't agree with some of the takes that I have. And then I plan on obviously being completely transparent about sports betting. I am not a sports bettor. The main sports bet that I've made, the biggest sports bet that I bet was Game 2 Miami Heat, where I bet $1,000 on the Heat, and then I took home $4,000 as a result of it. But it's going to be a combination of sports, good conversation, banner. I actually was DMing back and forth for Gilbert Arenas. He reached out to me on Instagram. I've been talking to a lot of different people, and so hopefully we can put that together. But it will be launching mid this week, so look out for that. I'm dropping that. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. That's going to be absolutely awesome because I got a new video that I'm dropping for you guys, including I got a new regular video that breaks down I go into the money. And then I got the Patreon meetup in a couple weeks over in New York in a few weeks. And then we got the Invest in You series, in which I invest in y'all businesses and give you that seed money to help you start your business. And then I got an interview that's dropping also. So make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description, as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Shout out to Teach Hanley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. Please, if you have not got your Teach Hanley, make sure you get your Teach packs because I know y'all have used other discount codes in the past. I've had to update the discount code. So if you've used any other Teach Hanley pack in the past, make sure you get rid of that shit and sign up using Teach Hanley. They are giving awesome products. It is amazing products. I use it myself every single morning. I take it with me on the road. And if you guys have not got your Teach pack, make sure you get your Teach pack, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. So it's Juneteenth, right? Somebody said you start a sports, you one sports bet, and you get the confidence to start an entire channel around sports betting. No, the entire channel was around sports, and then betting will just be a part of it because that just makes it more fun. So I would say that the channel was probably 98 to 99% about sports because we had already been putting that together in the first place. And then we just wanted to throw a few caveats in there because I think that, um, well, let me give you the real insight. So we are talking to some people behind the scenes for sponsorship on the channel. So we are incentivized to talk about that aspect of it because I'm a bag chaser. So a lot of y'all always talking and y'all yapping because y'all don't truly understand what it is that we do here. But the first rule is that we always make sure that we secure all bags, all money in, no money out. Shout out to Nipsey Hussle. And we're going to make sure that we get all of that money. So the sports component is the main aspect of it, but the betting is what incentivizes it and makes it even more awesome. So if you guys are familiar with me, anybody that's a part of the Patreon, everything comes back down to the money. That's why we're doing the Millionaire Morning Show. So shout out to all of y'all. I know that we have this culture, and I kind of talked about it over the weekend. We got this culture of negativity. It's always going to be people hating, throwing shots, and all of that other type of stuff. You keep doing that, we're going to keep counting up the money. All right? So, anyways, let's continue. Let me give a shout out to Joshua. Shout out to Joshua. Says the first video I saw was you taking your daughter to work. You stated you always carry at least 2,000 on you. Great to see your life elevating since. Shout out to you. It's a lot of people that's been rocking with me for a long time. That's dope. Thank you, Joshua Spraggins. I appreciate you for the super chat. I never asked for it, but I always appreciate it. Shout out to Mike, that dude, always hitting me off on Cash App, and everybody that support the platform on that aspect. I also want to give a shout out to Class E Beats. Shout out to Class E Beats. Class E Beats said, "Happy Father's Day, bro. God bless you," from yesterday. So I just wanted to make sure I give a shout out to him and everybody that supports the platform. So let's go ahead and get straight into the show because we always about the money. Again, I'm going to be reading Cash Apps throughout the show. Shout out to everybody that tuned in for Fight Club. Make sure that y'all tune into the Q show tonight because Anton going to be popping up. Anniversary and all. I will be showing up on Q show tonight on the Anton Daniels channel. So I think that's one of the best shows throughout the week. Obviously, it's one of the best shows throughout the week. The numbers say it. So we're going to continue to rock out. All right. So now that we got the housekeeping out of the way, now that I know that you're a Patreon member, now that I know that you got your Teach Pack, 30% off your first order plus a free gift, let me talk about this really quickly because we got a lot of content to go over. I want to go over Chicago. I want to go over materialism. We're going to break that down. I want to go over college closures. I want to break down poverty. I really want to talk about money and poverty today also. But first and foremost, I want to talk about being married for the equivalent of 19 years now, right? Being married for 19 years. It has been a journey, let me tell you. And it has been a great journey. I know that there's a lot of people that is always going to give you the negative Nancy. The majority of the stories that you're always going to hear is the divorce stories. You're going to hear the issues. You're going to hear the problems. You're going to hear the trouble. And again, very rarely do I ever take a day off, which I'm not taking a day off. But very rarely do I ever take a day off from taking care of my business and prioritize um, other people's perspectives before my own, because I believe that my purpose is prioritizing them because they're largely the beneficiaries of my hard work. However, being married 19 years, and that is literally a picture from when it is that we got married. Being married 19 years, oh my God, here we go. Rita and her surprises. Do y'all know that me and Rita have completely opposite personalities? We have completely opposite interests, personalities, the whole 9 yards. Okay, Rita, let's go. Nope, I don't want to finish the speech till I see what you got going on. I was not planning on being here this morning. I was actually going to work from the office, but I decided to work here, cancel my flight, and stay here. So, oh my God. All right. This is Rita's specialty. For the one I love, my heart knew it was a home. Aw. All right. Now she gonna write some. Yep, that's Rita. Rita says, Anton, I've known you for more than half my life. I am very grateful and thankful to have you in my life. Excited to see what our next chapter will be. I love you. I hope you know that the life we've built mean more to me than anything in the world. That is Rita. In her handwriting, the whole 9 yards. So shout out to Rita. All right. Here we go. Before we get into the show, all right. Do I need scissors? What is this? Before you open it. I didn't read it.
Here. Nope. That's the bottom. This is the top.
This is the top?
I think so, yeah.
Where did you take this? Well, no, I guess I don't need the scissors. What is this? Oh, packaging. Packaging Armageddon. Ah. All right. I see why you're in these streets. Oh, this is pretty dope.
So we got to put it together.
Yeah, no. So basically what it is nah, it's straight. It's cool. It's so I have a smaller case. And what is this part? Oh, this is the plug for it to turn it on, the key. So I have a smaller case for my watches. Now, a lot of people, what they don't understand is that these Rolexes, these have I think 72-hour power time before it stops rotating. And so what this is this is an upgraded watch case, because a lot of people have seen my watch cases before because I have a whole bunch of Rolexes now. And so what this allows it to do is that it turns every so often in order to keep all of the watches going at a certain time, and then it got all of the different spots for me to put additional watches that's outside of the Rolexes. This is pretty dope. Thank you, honey. You're so thoughtful. You're so thoughtful. Thank you, baby. This is dope. This is super dope. I don't know where to keep it. We'll figure that out later. All right. Thank you. I appreciate you. All right. So, um, that's Rita. I tell Rita that I don't want surprises, that I'm not looking for surprises and all of this other type of stuff on a regular basis. But she does it anyway because that's what she likes to do. She likes to buy me stuff, and she's the person that actually went and picked up this watch, this Rolex right here. So I have a whole lot of watches, Omegas, Rolexes, and all of that other type of stuff now. And so she's always trying to figure out how it is that she can make my life easier. And that is what being married is about. So I've been married for over 19 years now. 19 years. That's a long time. I've been married since I was 22 years old. 22 years old. I'm 41 years old now. And what they will tell you, what people will tell you is that there are no successful black couples, or the men that are giving you advice today, especially with regard to relationships, they don't really understand it. And what really makes us a threat, and when I say us, I'm talking about me and my wife, to the culture. And I largely believe that the culture is toxic, right? The culture is super toxic because the thing that they celebrate the most, and this is why I always call it trash, is the worst for us. We've seen it on full display this weekend. So many people are rooting for the person that is doing the thing that's best to fall. And I don't know where we've started rooting for the bad guy. I don't know where we got that from. Where do we start rooting for the person that adds value? I dropped a short on Instagram this morning, and it was the guy that wound up cutting his hair. And I would say that, thank you for the super chat. I'm going to be reading that shortly. I would say that the comments is half and half. And I knew that it was going to be half and half, right? It's polarizing. Because I did the before where we had the conversation, and I did the after where we had the conversation where he had got his hair cut. And all of us know that he looks 10 times better. His life is probably going to be much easier. He's going to have way more opportunity as a result of it. But when you go into the comments, it's split, and it's half and half. And it's half people that want him to stay in that distressed space where his life is going to be much more difficult as a result of it. And then the other half wants him to actually be more successful. And they like, Anton, I'm glad that he cut his hair. That was absolutely phenomenal advice, right? And so when we talking about being married for over 19 years, the other side of the picture that's not painted is the bliss. It's awesome. I wake up in the morning and I was looking at her this morning and I'm just like, man, it is just absolutely awesome to be married. It's phenomenal to do life with somebody that actually has your best interests at heart, with a woman that's submissive. She dedicates herself to ensuring that everything that I do is successful. She's literally giving her life to me, in which I handle her with care. I make sure that she has the best of everything. I always am making sure that I'm pouring into her. And then I'm not even talking about the business benefits that come along with it. But I want y'all, and this is the message that I'm giving to you on my 19th anniversary before they even establish a holiday for Juneteenth, right? I want you to understand that it's always another side to it. So when everybody is always painting to you the negative, the positive is much more impactful if you decide to embrace it. The majority of the people that's going to be loud are the ones that want you to fail. They're rooting for you to fail. They're looking for an opportunity to take you down. They want somebody to absolutely destroy you as a result of it. They want your marriage. I've received messages, even to this day, emails, messages, DMs saying that I can't wait for your marriage to fail. Eventually, she's going to leave you. Eventually, you'll leave her. All of this other type of stuff. From the very day that I first got married, I remember somebody said that it would never last. Isn't that wild? Isn't it wild that somebody would tell you on the day that you got married that it'll never last? Why? Why me? Why? And I was asking Rita this as we was riding because we went to get ice cream yesterday, and so Sundays is usually family day. I'll usually spend it with my wife and my daughter. Leslie decided that she wanted to go to the show with her friends. And then I was asking Rita, I said, man, why is it that because somebody had made a bad decision? And I said, man, why is it that people still doubt me? When we first got married, they told us that we wouldn't be successful with our marriage. They told me that I wouldn't be successful when it came to corporate America. They told me I wouldn't finish high school. They told me I was going to be dead by the time that I was 18. And then they doubled down and said that I would never make it till I was 21. And then they told me that I wouldn't be successful when it came to my businesses. And then they told me that I wouldn't finish my restaurant. And then when my father died, while I was finishing my restaurant, they told me that I wouldn't finish it then. And then they told me that I wouldn't be able to get to 5,000 subscribers on YouTube and then 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, and that I was going to fail when it came to content creation. And then they told me that eventually my marriage was going to fail even after I had passed the 10-year mark. And then they told me that I was going to fail when it came to being able to continue to be successful when it came to my businesses and growing in corporate America, and that I shouldn't do this, and that I can't build a house, and that I couldn't get into real estate, and I couldn't do that. They told me that my daughter wasn't going to be able to, like, every step of my life. And I don't know if it's just me or if it's y'all. I want y'all to let me know in the comments, what do y'all think? Why is it that every step of my life, there's always been a group of people, not just online, but just in real life in general, that is always wishing death, destruction, problems, trouble, poverty, failure in your relationships, child support on you? And I don't understand that. Is it me, or is it that most people are miserable? And so when you finally climb out of the miserable pack, they want to pull you down with them as though that's going to make their life any more fruitful as a result of it. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And so I'm going to continue to be that beacon of light. We're going to continue to live it up. I'm looking forward to year 20. We've started year 20 today of our marriage. 2 decades in, don't let them tell you that you can't be successfully married. Don't let them tell you that you can't have money to go along with it. Don't let them tell you that you can't be successful when it comes to corporate America. Don't let them tell you to run in the victim Olympics and that the white system is then built against you. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't be great, you can't be phenomenal, that you can't have everything and your cake and eat it too. It's a myth. It's a lie. Plenty of people do it every day. And because they know that there's so many people that's rooting against them, that's why they get quiet. That's what people don't realize. Wealth is quiet in a lot of instances for a lot of people because they trying to protect what they have from the people that's looking to take it from them. Let's get into the show. Let's deep dive into the show. I'm gonna read the super chat shortly because I do want to acknowledge y'all, but let me share this with y'all, and then we're gonna get into the whole Chicago thing. When people say wealth whispers, it doesn't. It only whispers in the rooms that where people are looking to take it from the people that have it. You know how they were selling those Eat the Rich shirts? That's usually what happens. It's not that wealth whispers, it's that they don't want to be identified and targeted by people that are wishing for their downfall. They have to dumb themselves down in order to even be around a certain group of people because they know that it breeds jealousy, and it's not nothing that they're doing wrong. You will be demonized for your success. But let me also tell you something also, because we were having a conversation with a group of women, black women specifically, outside of the ice cream parlor where we went to go get our ice cream yesterday. And so we was chilling. It was a Sunday on Woodward. Anybody from Metro Detroit that ride down Woodward, it's like a cruise. Everybody bring out their nice cars. There's good energy and everything like that. And a black woman was trying to convince me that wealth was bad, capitalism was bad, how it is that we live in a society is going to crumble. Anybody that has anything, they're going to fail, and all of this other type of stuff, right? And so I engaged her because somebody noticed me and they said, hey, well, aren't you Anton from the internet? And then that's when her friend, the black woman, started engaging, and we started having these debates and these conversations right there in front of the ice cream parlor. And I'm trying to help her to understand being broke and in poverty is demonic. It's evil. It's absolutely positively evil. We had our people that came in and they cleaned today inside of the place. So they come every morning, every Monday, and they clean up. They do the bathrooms, they do the whole kitchen, they mop, they sweep, they puff up the couches, they do all of this other type of stuff. And it was a white woman, a white girl, a young white girl, and she was talking about how she just got married and all of this other type of stuff, right? And it's three of them that come, but the white girl was the one that Rita was having a conversation with because Rita was trying to pour into her, helping her to understand how she can do things a little bit differently and become successful or whatever. And she was talking about, how they don't really have no money and they trying to figure it out and all of this other type of stuff, right? That's cool. That's okay when you're young. When you're figuring it out, y'all shooting in the gym together, y'all building, y'all, forging ahead. Two heads is better than one if you both are equally yoked and you're going down the same path and all of that other type of stuff. But once you start hitting 30, and then once you hit 40, and then you start to trend into going to be 50 and 60, that is for the birds. That poorness, that poverty, that struggling every day, that you got to get up and go to work in order to be able to feed yourself, but you don't have any other choice. And if you don't go to work, then you get kicked out and you're homeless. You don't, but you going to work, you're still not doing what it is that you want to do, and you're not really living in your purpose because you just over broke, but you don't make enough money to really be able to grow and become great. In order to really be able to travel without financing your life, which is one of the reasons why credit cards are so popular. You want to buy a house, so you're willing to finance it for the next 30 years, and you're gonna be paying double and triple by the time you get done paying for that house just for the opportunity to put your name on a deed or for the possibility of owning a house. Making bad decisions on a regular basis just so you can join the club and say that you're officially middle class and all of that other type of stuff. Having children and then knowing that they got to take out student loans, or you wishing that they get a scholarship just for them to be able to really get educated and stuff like that. It's for the birds. It's for the birds. Don't think and don't tell nobody. Don't you think for 1 second, don't let nobody tell you that that's the life that you want to live because you're going to become a minimalist and that you have to sacrifice. What if you want to go out and you want to splurge and you want to have a good time? What if you decide that you don't want to ride the bus every single day and you want to do something a little bit better for yourself? What if you decide that you just so happen to not want to live in this house or in this space for a year? What if you want to change your lifestyle? For me personally, I'm not interested in living in a house. I don't want to live in a space where I have to worry about the maintenance ever. The homes are for the investments. And then everything else, I just want people to be able to come in and do stuff for me. What if you want that lifestyle? What if you don't want to struggle for your entire life? What if you don't always want to go and look at your budget? What if you want to just go to the restaurant one day and not have to worry about financing the meal, but you just want to go and order whatever you want to order and you don't even want to look at the bill, you just give it a card whenever it is that you're done? What's so bad about that? Why is that so looked down upon? Why do we demonize success to where not only it becomes a part of our nature, it becomes a part of who we are, but even to the point to where we hate to see other people become successful as a result of it? It's nothing good. Let me tell you something. I know that they selling y'all this. I know that the pastor told you this. It's nothing good that comes from being poverty stricken or poor. You don't get no extra banners for it. God is not going to give you another crown, another jewel in your crown if you get to heaven. You're not going to get an extra pavement of gold on the streets of gold when you're walking down the path of success inside of heaven and nothing like that. You're not going to get any more rewards from being poor. None. Now, the method that you then take in order to become successful, that's a completely different conversation. But please get this poverty-stricken mindset off of you. Shake that shit off. Real talk. You have a demon, a poverty demon that is on your back and it is fucking gnashing on your neck. And you will not shake it off because the only thing that you care about is continuing to live in this demonic mindset, and you hate and you jealous and you envious. And when you jealous and you envious, I've never seen a person that is filled with hate, jealousy, and envy become successful. Never. even if it is a level of success that comes with it, is usually comes as a shortcut, or they finesse, or they get a PPP loan, or they do something unsavory that then they have to pay for long term and go to jail for, or do some time for, or something like that. I've never, ever in my entire life seen somebody that, because when you win, and you don't even be jealous. When you win, when you're in that good space, when you sitting courtside and you high-fiving with the players and they walking past you, you're not in no jealous mode. You're not looking at other people and saying, I can't believe he got it, because you got it too. And y'all trying to celebrate each other and having a phenomenal time as a result of it. You're not in that jealous space. You don't got that mindset. I've never seen people that hate other people, that call out other people for their success, become 10 times more successful as a result of it. Every single time I see them fail. Every time. I've never seen somebody that get mad at somebody else for having a blissful relationship have a blissful relationship. You are what you attract. Have y'all ever seen that person that when y'all go out with them, or they just a part of the friend group, or they're a part of somebody else's friend group, right? Or they may be a little brother or a little sister or another friend of a friend that's not even really a part of your friend group. But when y'all go out, you know they just gonna be the negative Nancy. They gonna be the one that complain about their food before the food even come out. They gonna be the one that try to skip out on the bill, or try to get something off the bill and try to embarrass you. They gonna be the person that never want to actually put up, and you gonna have to, y'all all gonna have to probably chip in order to pay for them to have a good time also, just because they are part of the group. They gonna be the one that's gonna be the slacker, the lackluster, the complainer. They gonna make you late. It's just always that person, even if it's the most positive friend group. And then you be looking at your homie, you be like, man, why the fuck you bring him, bro? He gonna be the dude when everybody try to talk to all of the women that call a chick a bitch because one of the girls didn't give him any play. He gonna be that guy. That's what we have in our culture. We have a group of people that is absolutely positively on this negative shit, and it's horrible. It is absolutely miserable. Don't be miserable. Poverty, poorness, all of that type of stuff. Get that junk up off you. If you're around other people that embrace that shit, get them from away from you. Even if you got to just completely remove yourself and go by yourself, and you want to then find a group of people that's going in the direction that you're going in, come on over here, tap into the Patreon, link is in the description, as well as pin to the top of the chat, because you got to shake that shit off of you. Shake it off. We don't speak that on our life. We don't project that for ourselves. Your words have power. Your tongue is life and death. The power of life and death is in your tongue. It then translates into your energy outside of you. Those type of people, they have diseases. They wind up having stuff happen to them all the time. They be in the hospital all the time. It's always something wrong. They broken. They can't get themselves together. It's always negative perspectives and all. Man, shake that shit up off you. That junk is contagious. It will make you depressed. It will start having you feel like there's something wrong with you. Stuff will start running into you. Man, spirits, principalities, all of that stuff, I believe in it. I know that it's real. And that junk will jump off of them and then onto you, because you spending too much time around people that ain't going in the direction that you're going in. Be careful who you shake hands with. When you got to go out in public and you got to shake a lot of people's hands and you don't know who these people are, wash your hands frequently. Go to the restroom, wash your hands, dip out, and get that shit up off of you. Be careful who you hug. You can hug somebody, I'm telling you, you can hug somebody and they will put a spirit on you just from their life. When I won't even watch certain shows. I remember that show Hoarders came out, and I was genuinely curious. And so you know how you scroll past and you wind up playing a little bit preview? I cut that shit off immediately. I can't watch Hoarders because I see the spirits and the demonic powers that come along with them carrying that shit on them. When people are walking around with problems and issues and trouble, and we talk about generational curses and stuff, that stuff gets passed on to other people and they don't know how to get it off of them. You need to get away from that shit. That junk will ruin your life. It'll give you depression. You'll wake up in the morning feeling bad and you don't know why. I'm telling you, positivity, success, all of that stuff is projected. It first starts here. It gets into your spirit. It translates into your actions. And do not spend time around people that is not adding value into your life and going in the direction that you're going in. Let that shit go. Shake it off, even if you have to go back down in order to go up. Don't let that stuff get a hold of your life. It will absolutely ruin your spirit, your life, the people around you, and you won't understand what's wrong with you and why everything is going bad around you. It rains on the just and the unjust, so it doesn't remove you from having to go through things, but you don't have to go through it for an extended period of time being around things that's then bad for you because you're surrounding yourself with these people that just got this negative perspective, this negative energy, this negative thing that's just eating away at you and is gnawing away at you, and you can't figure out how to get away from it. You need to remove yourself. Pray for them after you get out of there yourself. Save yourself, and then you pray for everybody else later. You know how they got the mask and they say it on the plane? Hey, first you put your mask on, and then you can help somebody else put their mask on. But you put your mask on, get the fuck up out of there before you around these people. I ain't spending no time around these negative people. I'm off that shit. Let me read Super Chats, and then we're going to cook up with the show. Shout out to Lamar Black Attack, says happy anniversary and marriage is a flex. Keep y'all flexing. I appreciate you, Lamar. He also says, oh yeah, thank you, Lamar. I appreciate you, big dog. Thank you for holding me down. Let me remove this really quickly so I can see these super chats clearly. C. Don says, happy anniversary, big dog. Wishing respect. Thank you, C. Don. I appreciate you, bro. Mary Alazo hit me with the 10 ball. Thank you, Mary. I appreciate you also. Call Me Jay says, seen you pushing that pretty ass Porsche through Birmingham yesterday, my G. So you know where I was at. A lot of people see me in the city. They see me look. I'm going to be honest with you. We was actually over there looking at real estate. For a lot of people that don't know, I'm looking to build like my dream home. And so we was over there looking at different properties and real estate over in Birmingham. And Birmingham is actually one of the most expensive states, the most expensive cities outside of Metro Detroit in Michigan. It is one of the most expensive cities. The average home in Birmingham is literally going for over $1 million. So we was actually doing real estate, and then we went to go get some ice cream afterwards. But shout out to Call Me Jay, said he seen me in Birmingham in the Porsche yesterday. I see you, big dog. You see when you get that good energy from people that want to wish good on you. Carrie E. Spencer says, happy anniversary, Anton and Rita. Wishing you guys many more years. Take off early today, Anton, and give Rita some quality time. We can't do that. We got to go and get that bag, Carrie. We can't do that. No days off. Raphael says, we listening, coach. Shout out to Raphael. Cliff is in the building, says, I avoid people like that, bro. My happiness is my responsibility. Absolutely. Kingdom Minded with the 20 ball is in the building. Shout out to Kingdom Minded. Says, happy anniversary. The episode with the guy who refused the haircut had me in tears. Strongholds are no joke. Second episode post-cut. Danced in my kitchen. Keep encouraging. A poverty mindset is a sin. I agree with you. Thank you, Kingdom Minded. You are absolutely 100. Oh, shit. Be Nice is in the building. We got to give a little bit different. I'll see you, Be Nice. We appreciate everybody. But Be Nice says, $200,000 earner here. I know coaching calls are months out, but I'm shooting my shot. I need to get that 250,000 plus mark. Hey, Rita, make sure you write down Be Nice. Be Nice. Send me an email. Anton Daniels 413@gmail.com. I'm going to make sure that I get you popping, big dog. Be Nice. Thank you for the 100 ball. I appreciate you. Jamal Fowler is in the building. Says, happy anniversary. Salute. Thank you, Jamal. I appreciate you. Thank you. Make sure you guys get that Teach Hanley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. In addition to that, make sure you tap into the Patreon. The link is in the description, as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let's get into the show, ladies and gentlemen. So, I know y'all don't want me to say this. I know y'all don't want me to have this conversation. I know that y'all want me to then look at Juneteenth as the best holiday ever. I don't know where it came from. I don't know how it became a banking holiday. I'm trying to understand whether or not the government buildings is open so that I can go and make sure that I can get my gun license renewed the proper way. But Juneteenth. Shout out to Metro Chicago. Around the city here in Detroit, we call it Metro Detroit. So all of the surrounding suburbs around Detroit, within a certain area or radius of the city, we called it Metro Detroit. Shout out to Metro Chicago. I seen Juneteenth celebrations all around the city. I seen that it was a fight that broke out over here in Pontiac, Michigan. A lot of people not familiar with the Yak. Shout out to Yaktown, Pontiac. I seen a fight. They had a Juneteenth celebration down. I seen a fight. These dudes was fighting. One of them looked a little bit zesty, but he was getting the best of the other guy. I said, is this what y'all doing on Juneteenth? Music playing in the background and everybody gathering around to see who will win the fight? I went ahead and drove off in a Porsche. But shout out to Chicago. Let's go ahead and get to it. Shout out to Chef DC. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. Make sure y'all hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on y'all notifications. Let's go ahead and get started with the show.
That's right, Karen. And you know, unfortunately, there's still an awful lot that we do not know, particularly when it comes to the extent of the injuries. The person who passed away has not yet been identified. None of that information has been forthcoming from authorities yet. What I can tell you is that the strip mall where this shooting happened remains closed as investigators continue to look into the cause of this shooting. Now, because
y'all said it's called Chicagoland, the land around Chicago. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Y'all familiarizing me with it because I'm not gonna go there to figure it out for myself. But let's continue.
the other side of the street is actually unincorporated Willowbrook. It is a DuPage County Sheriff that is in charge of the investigation. A spokesperson for the department telling us earlier that they still have not identified the people responsible for what happened. Dozens of shell casings litter the parking lot inside this strip mall.
Look at that. At a Juneteenth celebration in Chicagoland. And you know the interesting thing about this is that it's not just one story. Listen, I had so many different stories to choose from about what it is that happened over the weekend in Chicago, San Francisco, all over, right? I had at least 5 different separate situations. This just so happened to be the most egregious. Shout out to Chef DC. I'm going to be reading that shortly. I had 5 different stories that was sent to me in my email that I had to choose from before I could utilize this. But this just so happened to be one of the most egregious ones. 23 people shot, at least 1 killed. Do you see all of those bullet shells and casings that's laid out across that ground at our cultural event, at the thing that we're supposed to be celebrating? I had over 5 different opportunities. I decided to share one more. We're going to get into that. But over 5 different opportunities or 5 different stories from the news alone. We don't even know what happened that we didn't report on or what was missed and all of this other type of stuff. But I want to show you what I identify as a massacre look like. This should be called a terrorist event. Somebody sent me a message and they said, Anton, if only 1 person died, then it's not technically a massacre. So, okay, we got to wait till how many people die before we actually call to action and we get Black Lives Matters on the phone. I know they're going bankrupt, but it doesn't stop them from being able to make signs and go out there and picket. We got to call how many people dead before we start to get all of our leaders on the line, before we start to hold ourselves accountable and say, okay, is it the system that's setting us up? Because I know the system wanted to acknowledge Juneteenth. I don't know why they decided to put it on my anniversary, but the system wanted to highlight Juneteenth. And look at all of the random shell casings that's just laid out there, waiting to be assessed by the detective over there in Chicagoland or Willowbrook or Roseland and all of the other different spaces. I even tried to give Chicago a little bit of a break. I said, well, let's just go out to Metro Chicago. They corrected me. They said, well, it's called Chicagoland technically. I said, let's go outside of it to see if that part is safe. Because, you know, they always only want to say, well, it's the inner city. It's the south side of Chicago. I said, well, okay, let's choose some stories from outside of Chicago that's around Chicago in order to better assess how egregious our people are operating when it comes to the cultural norms that we embrace. So you telling me on the day that y'all supposed to be celebrating each other the most, y'all even got a day outside of February that's not just Black History, and this is what it is that we see? Okay.
Mall in unincorporated Willowbrook today, where shortly after midnight, at least 23 people were shot, one of them fatally, in what investigators describe as a peaceful Juneteenth gathering turned violent.
Victims were taken to multiple hospitals in DuPage, Cook, and Will counties. The ages and conditions of victims are not available at this.
He's so nervous. He nervous about saying the wrong thing because he know that y'all gonna hold him accountable if he call y'all a monkey versus the people that actually was doing all of the shooting. He's so nervous to talk to y'all right now. Y'all got white people that's actually trying to investigate and figure out who shot who. Nervous? Nervous? Yo, Deputy Chief Eric Swanson, give us the stats, big dog.
Time. The motive behind this incident is unclear.
This woman, who did not want to be identified.
What? Just so happened to be a black woman that decided that they didn't want to be identified. I wonder why they didn't want to be identified. Do you think it's a possibility that this black woman didn't want to be identified because A, retaliation, B, we have this no snitching culture, or C, all of the above? A, retaliation, B, no snitching culture, or C, all of the above? Hey, chat. Can y'all do me a favor? Put in the chat whether you think it's A, give me A, B, or C. A, retaliation, B, no snitching culture, or C, both. Chat, let me know. Do y'all think it's A, retaliation, B, no snitching, or C, both? I'm curious. Sandy says C. International Ronan said B. I see a lot of C's. Mimi says C. AC, all C said all. Kuro said C. Look out below C. Dr. Walt C. I see a lot of C's up in here. Let's talk to all of the witnesses and let's see what their perspective is, because I see a lot of C's. I see a couple A's, not so many B's. Okay, let's go.
Says she was there when the gunfire erupted.
Everybody started running. There was a man, he fell on top of me. He had a gunshot wound in his leg. It was like something you won't imagine.
According to sheriff's deputies, they were monitoring the gathering, which began around.
Look at all of those shell casings. Hold on. Yo, Fa Brown, give me a second. I'm going to read that super chat shortly. Fa Brown, look at this. Look at all of that carnage. Look at all of the little things, the little numbers that they put where the shell casings are and all of the shootouts. My only surprise, ladies and gentlemen, is that more people have not ultimately succumbed to their injuries. That's the nice way of putting it. That only 23 people was shot and that more people didn't succumb to their injuries. That's my only concern is, wow, I can't believe that this little of damage was done considering everything that's being shown right here on the screen.
The gathering, which began around 6 p.m. in the vicinity of Hinsdale Lake Terrace at Honeysuckle Lane and Route 83. Called away briefly to respond to a 911 call nearby, deputies heard the gunshots and immediately returned.
And out of nowhere, it was like a major gunfight for like 30 seconds. I'd say 60 plus, rounds.
A major gunfight in broad daylight at a Juneteenth celebration in Chicagoland. A major gunfight broke out at a Juneteenth celebration where it had to be at least over 60 rounds. How many of those bullets was going into different places that we can't even identify? Bullets don't really stop until they hit a target, whether it's a wall, whether it's the ground and the concrete. How many of those bullets hit unidentified places or people or other things that we don't even know about? The damage, the carnage, the culture that we embrace the most. How bad was it really that we can't even really identify? How many people actually got shot that didn't want to say that they got shot that probably had warrants for their arrests? How many people got shot that didn't want to say that they got shot that was probably shooting back because they was a part of the gunfight? How long do we continue to embrace this culture? A gunfight at a Juneteenth event, which basically tells me, listen, Anton, if you see anything that's popping off, or if you see, when I see people going into a club and it's a primary specific demographic, if I see an event and I know that it's primarily going to be a specific demographic, that's my cue to stay away from it.
And you could tell it was like two different, groups of people shooting at each other.
Those living across the street from the scene say this particular strip mall has, in recent years, attracted similar ad hoc gatherings.
I would estimate there was probably 150 cars or so.
So it's 150 cars there. You got this good white man right now, Rick Wagner. See, Rick and Jason that was on the other one. Let me see. What was the other guy's name? Let me see. Bartol's and Rick, they're not afraid to show their faces because they believe in snitching. They believe that it's important to be able to clean up our community, and if we can get those CCTV cameras and those ring cameras to be able to identify who is out here shooting. See, let me tell you what else is going on. This is just a theory, but this is my educated guess. This is my hypothesis, right? Nobody gonna tell on nobody that was shooting out and having a shootout, and they gonna make it more difficult for the police. And you know what they're gonna tell them? Let the police do their job. That's not my responsibility to point out who it was that was shooting. It's not my responsibility to point out who it was unless somebody that I know specifically are one of the ones that ended up in the casket. They're going to say, shout out to Aaron, I'm reading Super Chat shortly. They're gonna say, let the police do their job. I don't want to be on camera. It is up to them to find out who it was that was doing all of the carnage and the shooting and the thing that's the worst for us. They not going to want to identify it. They not going to want to talk about it. They not going to tell on them. They not going to get the killers off of the street. And if they do decide to get one of the killers, we know they're going to have a free Ray t-shirt on, and that's going to be the end of that. Free the guys. Free my brother. Free my brother out here. You know what? He ain't supposed to be locked up. And then y'all gonna be going on the Fight Club at night talking about how they giving black people more time than they giving everybody else, or how is it that 13.6% of the population is the ones that's the most locked up. I'm so tired. Of hearing the excuses and why we can't get it together. I's tired, boss. I's tired, boss.
Say this particular strip mall has, in recent years, attracted similar ad hoc gatherings.
I would estimate there was probably
Tell 'em, Rick.
150 cars or so, all the way from one end of the parking lot to the next, and probably 300 to 400 people. It's just one of these probably social media things where everybody gets together and it just balloons into that. I've talked to the police in the past, DuPage County and Burr Ridge, and every time they said they were going to be able to do something or...
See, he out there calling the police. He said every time they're going to be able to do something. You know who's prohibiting the investigation? The free rays homies is prohibiting the investigation. Shout out to Jack Covington. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly.
Try to do something about it.
Now, at this point, the spokesperson for the DuPage County Sheriff's Department tells us that they are still in the process of interviewing witnesses as well as those who were injured and gathering any surveillance video that may lead them to the people responsible for this shooting.
What? Let's pivot for a second. Let's use something else as an example. Let's see this other witness, Markeisha Avery. Markeisha said that she actually wants to talk a little bit more about what it is that happened. Hey, Markeisha, we see that you, unlike your friend over there, you don't mind being on camera. Let's see what
Hey,
else.
Mark and Samantha, good
What else
morning
is
to
this
both of
one?
you. We know that there were at least 10 people shot overnight. Like you just said, Mark, 2 of those individuals are in critical condition at this hour. And check it out, there is still a massive police presence where this all unfolded in Willowbrook about 5.5 hours ago. Police say this happened around 12:30, but you can still see crime scene tape, a handful of officers scattered about investigating, and even farther past where these officers
Now y'all got to pay them overtime. Now y'all got to pay all of the officers overtime in order to investigate and try to figure out who the fuck shot who. Cool.
are in this strip mall. You can still see debris on the ground right there, scattered from whatever was happening before those shots were fired. A tri-state fire protection district official tells us there was some sort of large gathering near Route 83 in Lilac at around 12:30. Now, video shows a large police presence and debris scattered across the crime scene. A witness tells us, or she describes rather, the chaos leading up to that shooting.
It was supposed to be like a Juneteenth celebration. We just started heard the shoot come from behind us, so we dropped down. We dropped down until they stopped. They just kept going. After that, we literally scattered away and just started trying to check up on everybody that we knew, that we seen.
Now, Mark and Samantha, it's still unclear at this hour what led up to this shooting in the first place. You know, the witness, like you heard right there, was saying there was some sort of large gathering, but what was the moment that triggered?
I know I'm muted. Am I muted? Good, because I said some egregious shit, and I probably should have been muted. You see how God be working on my behalf? Markeisha said, did y'all see my gestures though while I was muted? Oh.
You said this to me?
See, while they out here shooting out each other, Rita over here getting gifts delivered.
You did this?
Yes, I did that for you.
I love edible arrangements.
You're welcome.
Thank you. This is so pretty. Oh, for me.
Honey, I'm talking about the people shooting each other up in Chicago.
Sorry.
All right, let me get back to talking about these people. All right. Matter of fact, here, let's pivot. We don't even want to talk about that one. Let's talk about another one that was happening in Chicagoland. What? Chicago shooting, 1 killed, 5 others injured. Let's talk about that one.
We're starting with breaking news. A mass shooting on the south side at a Father's Day park gathering. 1 person was killed and at least 5 people were taken to hospitals. CBS 2's Andrew Ramos is live in the Roseland neighborhood. Andrew, Chicago police just held a news conference. What did you find out?
That's right, Charlie. We just heard from CPD officials that confirmed that 6 people were shot, 1 of them now dead. Now, this all unfolded at around 7:50 here in the Roseland neighborhood. It occurred at Smith Park, as you mentioned, where a family...
Hey, watch this. Hold on. Check it out. Let me show y'all something real quick. If y'all look really closely, if you rewind it just a little bit. Hold on. Let me see. Look at that. Lil' Kim headlining in night 2 of the Summerfest in Hyde Park. Right after that, hey, Lil' Kim is headlining night 2 of Summerfest over in Hyde Park, y'all.
Here in the Roseland neighborhood. It occurred at Smith Park, as you mentioned, where a family gathering was going down for Father's Day. According to police, a dark-colored sedan had been driving down South Princeton Avenue when that gunfire broke out and just bullets started flying.
Hey, hold on to him, big dog. I know it was Father's Day. I know we got Juneteenth celebrations all over the weekend. Don't worry about it. At least 5 is hurt, but only 1 person is shot, so it's not technically a massacre, y'all.
People started running, and in the melee, 6 people were shot, and again, 1 of them died from the shooting. According to officials, as we had mentioned before, it was a dark color sedan.
What is that walking across the street? Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're going to make sure it get fixed.
That's what they're looking for at this point. We did get a chance to speak to some residents who talked to residents who were here on the street when everything occurred, and he described what a relative told him.
My cousin just told me she heard some gunshots, maybe, I don't know, 15, 16 shots, and a car pulled up, just started shooting, and they started, I think it was like maybe 20 or more shots, and everybody was ducking and stuff like that.
Now, just to recap, 6 people shot, 1 of them now dead. We were told that the victims, their conditions are unknown at this hour. They were taken to local area hospitals where they're being evaluated, so it's unsure what their condition is right now. And again, they're looking for a dark color sedan that they said opened fire on this Father's Day barbecue happening here.
That really is going to narrow it down. Don't worry about it. That is going to narrow it down. They're going to figure out who it was, right? And what it is. They're going to figure out who it was and what it is. The fact that it is a dark colored sedan is going to narrow it way down over there in Chicago. They're going to figure that out. Hey, let me get a something. Let me get one of them joints. Here, just hand me the whole thing. Let me see that. I know I bought it for you. Yeah, it's heavy. It's heavy. Ooh, we love edible arrangements, especially while we talking about them over here making it happen over there in Chicago. There you go. Shout out to Chicago. Let's continue with the show. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to continue with the show. Looks like Chef DC is in the building with the 2-ball, and then he came back to back. He came back to back with the 50-ball. Shout out to Chef DC in the building, holding us down. Thank you, Chef. We appreciate you. Fi Brown says, what up, Anton? Happy anniversary to you and Rita. Salute and happy Father's Day to you and all of the fathers. Can't wait for my monthly coaching calls to start in August. Please holler at Rita and convince her to move me up to July. Rita, what you think about that?
You don't have the capacity. I wish I could.
Rita said I don't have the capacity yet. Some of y'all need to be sending me an email and getting on a list. I asked Rita today. I said, listen. Hold on.
Anton.
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, brother?
What's going on, my friend? How you doing?
Good, man. Hey, a couple of things. One, did you take a look at the properties?
I did.
Okay, cool. What'd you think?
I don't think I can do anything with those 3 properties.
Okay.
They just in less than ideal areas. You know what I'm saying?
I know, but
everything is location for me.
Yeah. 2, when you cleared out net docks with the trees, did you get a permit from the city or you just did it on your own?
No, I didn't need a permit to be able to clear out the trees.
Just did you talk to the city or township or no?
I talked to them.
What did they say?
I didn't need a permit for that. Everything that we needed a permit to pull for, it didn't have nothing to do with the clearing out of the property itself.
So you can clear out the trees on any property?
Well, it depends on what city you in. I don't know where you own your property at.
West Bullfield.
Oh yeah, you should be fine then.
Okay, cool.
If you find me any other properties in Oakland County, just let me know and I'll go and check them out. And I'm willing to pay cash for them.
Residential?
Residential, yeah. I don't want nothing commercial, only residential.
Okay, you got it, buddy. I'll keep you in mind.
All right, my friend.
Oh, man. Thanks. Hey, we got to do something with the construction people.
I know. I got you.
Did you start yet or no?
Yep, I did. I just had my surveyors done. Just ordered the materials, and we're about to start clearing out and pouring a foundation soon.
Who's your surveyor?
I can't. Let me call you back. I can't tell you that right now because I'm on a live stream, but I'll call you back and tell you.
That's fine. Text me when you get a chance. Thanks.
Oh, okay.
Thanks.
Let me read some more of these super chats, and then we're gonna continue over with the show. Five Brown, I read that one. Thank you for the super chat. Shout out to my dog, Mike Jones is in the building. Mike Jones says, so this is how they celebrate Juneteenth. Shootings, fights, trash everywhere. Nah, they can keep Juneteenth. Also, Anton, there was a story where people were celebrating Father's Day and 4 fathers were shot. Hey, send me that, Mike Jones. I didn't hear about that one. It was 4 fathers shot on Father's Day? It must have been some stepfathers simping for the mothers. Who knows? Shout out to you. Hold on. Why is that still? Thank you, Siri. Thank you. Siri is over here making things difficult for us. Shout out to Siri. Aaron says, I've been going to various Juneteenth celebrations for over 15 years and never seen violence at any of them. This is terrible. Aaron, I don't know about that. Biden just sanctioned Juneteenth in 2021 as a holiday. Carrie, where I get to Carrie's in a minute. Jack Covington says, you inspire me, brother. Oh, let me give Jack Covington his. He gave me the 20 ball, so we got to give him that. Jack Covington says, you inspire me, brother. Joined the Patreon and started a bottled alkaline water company. I released an ebook dedicated to fathers who are busy and need to find time to work out. Would love to share my work. Health is wealth. Hey, send me the bottled water. Send me some waters, Jack Covington, and then I'm going to highlight it on the platform and tell people where they can pick it up. Send it to me, big dog. I appreciate you. Thank you for the 20 ball. Zachary Brown says, I'm 26, living in Atlanta. Looking forward to learning from you, sir. Joining the Patreon today. Is there a Discord? There is. Discord. See you, baby. Have fun, Leslie. Discord is attached or it's linked in any of the most recent posts inside of the description of the videos. Click the link inside of the videos, then you have access to the Discord. Shout out to all of the bag chasers and the Patreon members and the new people. Can we get a salute for Zachary Brown for joining the Patreon? Shout out to Zachary Brown joining the Patreon. Carrie Spencer says, do most people celebrating Juneteenth know what it is? No. Now you know that our newest federal holiday celebrating and highlighting the emancipation of enslaved Black Americans is not something that they're familiar with. This is the first time that they've ever heard anybody say it. They are not familiar with that. Most people don't know most of the holidays that they celebrate, not just Juneteenth. I think it's a waste of a holiday. I think all holidays is a waste. I think it's an excuse for people to get off of work, Carrie, but we're going to get into that later. Tailored by Nature says, for the so-called English language, which is a veil, aka bale or ball, language of whites, meaning language is a program that influences our minds and controls our actions. Programming behavior. Thank you for the 10 ball. I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting the platform. We really, really rock out with everybody that continues to roll out with us. Also, Aaron says, happy anniversary and Father's Day, big bro, peace and blessings. Thank you, Aaron, and I appreciate you for holding me down, my friend. We reading super chats all throughout the show. So thank you to everybody that hold us down. I want to get into, in celebration of Juneteenth, I wanted to get into one of my favorite people, because he recently released a video, and I think that he is one of the most entertaining and insightful people that we have on the internet today. Before we get into the money, because I want to get into colleges, I want to get into how many closures, I want to get into why it's important for you to go to college, or if you shouldn't go to college, should you start a business and all of that. Before we get into the money, I want to get into the materialism, because Dr. Umar Johnson dropped a video and said materialism will be the end of us. Do you agree or disagree? Make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. If you have not already, make sure that you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. And then also, make sure that you send me an email, antondaniels413@gmail.com, if you see a story that you want me to highlight, especially if it comes back to the money or react to. Let's go ahead and get into this live stream that Dr. Umar Johnson dropped.
Gangster rappers They don't live a happy life. Have you seen some of these Negroes off the stage? They are the nastiest, most disrespectful, most fear-based, most anger-based Negroes you will meet in your life, because spirit doesn't function off of image and merchandise.
Let me be the first to say, as a person that regularly it would seem as though I disagree with Dr. Umar Johnson a lot, but I agree with a lot of the things that he's saying. And he is absolutely right. The start of this video, in which he highlights how some of the people that we look up to the most, which is one of the reasons why I say that black culture is trash, or the things that we celebrate the most about it, he used gangster rappers, and he said that a lot of these guys, even though they project themselves to be happy, even though they out here with all of the chains and stuff like that, they are not happy. And the spirit that comes along with them is also a spirit that shows that they're living in a space to where they're projecting themselves to be happy, but the materialism cannot substitute for a lack of character and substance that they then show and give to us that actually ruins our community. I think that Umar Johnson is 100% right on the money when it comes to his breakdown of this and starting this live stream. In the same way that we criticize, in the same way where we say, yo, somebody might be wrong or we don't agree with them, we also got to give them the credit when we agree with them and when we think that they're right. He is 100% correct. Shout out to Bitcoin Brown. I'm going to be reading that super chat shortly. Dr. Umar Johnson is 100% correct with the start of this video when he said that these gangster rappers are not happy and the things that they projecting is toxic for us. And you can tell because spirits are real. He's 100% right.
This is why when you out here dating, mating, and cohabitating, hopefully no snow bunny. Got too many black women walking
He had to throw that snow bunnies in there, didn't he?
around with hostile personality disorder. We have too many black men walking around with hostile personality disorder. We have too many youth walking around with hostile personality disorder. We have too many elders walking around with hostile personality disorder. We have a crisis of hypertension in the black community. Too many of us are perishing from stroke, heart attack, and other illness because we are trapping and carrying too much stress inside of our bodies. We are trapping and carrying too much stress inside of our bodies.
Before I continue with this, because I have not seen this video yet, you guys send me a lot of the Dr. Umar Johnson stuff y'all send me. I'm like, it's nothing there. It's nothing new. I don't necessarily want to react to it. Y'all send me this video and y'all talked about, with him talking about materialism, which, I like it when it comes back down to the money. And he's saying that a lot of people are walking around with too much stress. Before I deep dive into the video even more to hear the context behind it, because I want to hear the context behind it. Shout out to Azriel. I'm going to be reading that super chat in a minute. Before I deep dive to find out the context behind it, because first, I don't think that it's only singular. Whatever it is that he attaches, what I found is that it's not singular to just black people, okay? So you have to step outside of just what it is that you see. I know that he only refers to black people, but I would attach this to everybody, A. But the question that I have, B, before I start to get into the context is it more or less stressful today than it's ever been? That's the question that I want to ask myself as I'm listening to this conversation. Is it more or less stressful than yesteryear? And we can go back 10 years, we can go back 20 years, we can go back 30 years, we can go back 50 years, we can go back 100 years. I would say that we live in a time in which it's the least stressful than it's ever been. I think that we're bombarded with a narrative that, especially with regard to social media, and no matter what time that you live in, we're always going to be the biggest victims. I'm trying to understand how we look at today and say in any way, shape, or form, and I know he didn't say this, I'm just asking this question, that it's stress. I would say it's the food. I would say it's the culture. I would say it's social media. I would attach it to a lot of other things, but I would not actually attach it to the lifestyle that we have the option to live versus the lifestyle of yesteryear. But let me hear the context of what it is that he's saying.
No doubt, some of this stress is ancestral. It is in our DNA. We brought it with us when we incarnated. We brought it with us into this human dimension when we incarnated. Some of the stress is ancestral, but a lot of the stress is self-inflicted because we are not processing our experiences under white supremacy correctly and positively.
I really, that bothers me. And again, this is my first time hearing it. And it bothers me because the minute that you stop becoming a victim and stop blaming another system or somebody else, somebody tell me, I'm curious. Somebody tell me. And I asked my dog, Jack Talcott. Jack was on the show on Friday. Somebody tell me and show me a system that is better. I asked that black woman that we was talking to in front of the ice cream parlor yesterday because she was trying to say the same stuff, ironically. I asked her, I said, what system is actually better or more productive than what it is that we have here in the United States of America? Capitalism, the system that we have right now, this democracy or whatever it is that's being pushed on us as an agenda, is absolutely not perfect. But what other system is actually more productive and better? And why is so many people actually looking to come here instead of more people are looking to leave the United States of America? That's what I'm curious about. If it's so bad here, why are more people trying to get in here than ever before? I mean, over the last 10, 15, 20 years, one of the biggest sticking points of our presidential elections has been, shout out to Aaron, I'm reading that super chat shortly. One of the biggest sticking points of our presidential election has been border security. Why aren't we closing off our borders? Why is anybody able to come in here? Dr. Umar Johnson himself, just last week, Friday, I believe, or Thursday from last week, just was having a conversation about the migrant crisis that's happening over in New York and Chicago. He was just having a conversation about the migrant crisis over in New York and Chicago, right? What I'm asking you is, even though I don't think that any system would ever be perfect, but what system is better than the system that we have here? That's what I'm asking. Let me continue to hear what he got to say.
Stress will kill you if you don't know how to handle it. Stress will cause disease if you don't know how to handle it. Yes, we need to change our diet. Yes, we need to exercise, but I'm not talking
about... And when I say system, I'm not talking about a theory. I'm talking about something that's put into place in a different country, in a different nation, somewhere else where it's more productive. Is it dictatorships? Is it what's happening over in the UK? Is it what's happening over in Africa? Is it complete chaos in Haiti? Is it what's happening in China? Is it what's going on in Russia? Is it what's happening in Switzerland? Somebody help me to understand this system that's so productive that we're seeking this utopia that's better than what it is that we have as far as the freedom of choice over here in America.
About diet right now. I'm going to leave that to the dietitians. I'm not talking about exercise right now. I'm going to leave that to the professional trainers. I'm dealing with my expertise. I'm dealing with the psychological costs of stress. I'm dealing with the psychological costs of stress. We are literally destroying ourselves because we are walking around hostile. Too many hostile Africans in the black community. Too many hostile Africans in the black community.
The source of the stress, I think that I disagree a little bit with Dr. Umar Johnson as far as the system. I agree with him 100% in which he's saying that it's too many people. And again, I don't think that it's singularly extracted just from black people. Everybody is hostile. Everybody is wound up. Everybody is willing to shoot it out. Everybody is beefing as soon as you tap on them, and everybody is angry when it comes to everything that you bring up. It don't matter what it is that you bring up. There are people that are angry, they wake up angry. I 100% agree with what Dr. Umar Johnson is saying as far as the culture by which we live in. It's hate. It's angry. For the longest, the word haters has been a thing. Everybody is hostile. Everybody is pissed. People get pissed when you too happy. They be like, "Who you think you are? Why you think you better than us? Why you not pissed like us?" And then some of y'all give in to the mob culture and you say, "Yeah, I'm pissed too." You don't even really want to be pissed. And then you lie to yourself, and you lie to yourself long enough to actually start to get pissed because you start believing in a lie.
You have to learn one of the most important things you can do in your life. One of the most important things you can do in your life is know what to worry about and know what to leave to the Most High.
So it's 1,500 people in here. 1,500 plus people in here, and the likes is anemic. Please don't make me play a Teach Hanley commercial again. You know I got more than one Teach Hanley commercial. I will stop mid-show and play the Teach Hanley commercial. Can you guys please get the likes up? Please? Thanks.
One of the most important decisions you can make is know your spiritual wisdom. This is why you must develop spiritual wisdom and intuition. Knowing what to worry about and what not to worry about is the difference between life and death. Worry will kill you. Worry will kill you. Anger will kill you.
Facts.
Anger will kill you. Our young children killing each other in the streets, filled with
I see you, our streets. Absolutely. These dudes be on 10.
anger. You know why? The basis of anger is fear. The basis of anger is fear.
Let me sit on that for a minute. It's not always good to react immediately. Sometimes you have to consume, you have to take in what somebody is saying, and you have to start to try to digest it a little bit. You try to look for the understanding. He said the basis of anger is fear. The basis of anger is fear. That's what he said. Do you think that that's true? The basis of anger is fear. Is that the only thing that generates anger is fear?
I don't think it's the only thing.
Well, let me hear the rest of the context.
Whenever you are angry, there is a seed of fear within you regarding that situation. Whenever you are angry, there is a seed of fear within you. Whenever you are angry, there is a seed of fear that is provoking the anger. You are angry because you are afraid. You are angry because you are afraid. You are angry because you are afraid. Afraid of what? Losing something. Afraid of what? Death to your reputation. Death to your relationship. You are afraid of losing your job, afraid of being embarrassed, afraid of being exposed, so you get angry. Anger is how you weaponize your fear. Anger is the weaponization of fear.
I don't know if he's wrong. I don't know if he's completely right either. Because if you think about it, he's saying that fear is the thing that have you weaponizing anger, right? But I can't say that he's entirely right either. I got angry this weekend because I can't exhibit the same behavior that I wanted to exhibit 10 years ago when somebody pissed me off. Rita had to pray for me. I said, man, if this was 10, 20 years ago.
Don't say too much.
You said what? Don't say too much?
No.
If this was 10, 20, I ain't going to say it. I would never put myself in that position, especially on a live stream. I said, if this was 10, 20 years ago, it would be different. It would just be a completely different situation. But I don't know if I was entirely angry more than I was just like evaluating my options of how it is that I should handle a particular situation. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I can't say that that's entirely right. I'm not saying that he's wrong, but I guess it's just something more to ponder over.
What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? And let me say this to you. Your ego is always afraid of something because your ego operates. Your ego operates in the realm of success and failure. All your ego knows is success and failure. Your ego don't know anything else. So if you are an ego-based African, if you are a narcissistic, ego-based African, if your whole life is about what you own and how you appear to other people, I know you deal with a lot of anger, a lot of fear, a lot of frustration, a lot of rage. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. That's not a healthy life. Our gangster rappers, they don't live a healthy life. Our gangster rappers, they don't live a happy life. Have you seen some of these Negroes off the stage? Have you seen some of these Negroes off the stage?
Dr. Umar Johnson, let me tell you why he's so good at what he does. I think in the context in which he's using it, he's right? Because again, the beginning of this live stream, he referenced gangster rappers in order to substantiate his argument, right? But the other side of the conversation is when you take it outside of that, you using it when it comes to corporate America, you could be angry because somebody stole from you for your business. For example, let's just say, for example, you hire somebody and you give them a chance and then they steal from you. I don't fear anything as a result of that, but I'm pissed at the fact that you stole from me because I had trusted you and I tried to give you a chance and then you turned your back on me. You see what I'm saying? So that's why the Bible says be angry but sin not. Be angry but sin not, because you don't want to let your emotions control you to then make a decision that you would regret long term. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be angry. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't experience that emotion of anger. And I don't think that comes from fear. I think it comes from a lot of different things depending on the context by which you're using it. But what makes Umar Johnson so good at what he does is because I think that he's using it in the context of what it is that we embrace and look up to from a cultural norm perspective. So, for example, if we only looking up to basketball wives, the chicks looking up to basketball wives and chicks for the streets, and then everybody else is looking up to these gangster rappers in order to reference them to justify how it is that they live their life. In that context, it's true because they then hide who they truly are by dousing themselves with stuff, right? You're dousing yourself with the chains, you got the ice on, and you get all of the cars, and you say you got all of these women around you. But as we see what's happening with people like the Zion Williamsons and the Paul Pierces and all of those other type of people, it doesn't fix who you truly are on the inside, and so you still walking around with that anger. The problem is just that, and the John Morant's for that sake. But the problem is that you don't truly fix who you are. It's just coming out in a different way. That's probably even worse because now you influencing other people trying to act like you are better as a result of the money, but the money just made you more of what you already are. So I agree with him, right? I agree with him in that the reference point that he's using in order to justify his argument is correct. And he's using these gangster rappers in order to justify his argument. But let's continue to see what he has to say.
They are the nastiest, most disrespectful, most fear-based, most anger-based Negroes you will meet in your life because spirit doesn't function off of image and merchandise. Spirit doesn't function off of image and merchandise. This is why when you out here dating, mating, and cohabitating, hopefully no snow bunnying. When you out here dating, mating, and cohabitating,
You even bust out laughing when he said it. What he say, the girls are snow bunnies and the guys is what? Snow something. He said the guys was what? Somebody in the chat tell me what he said the guys are. The women is snow bunnies and the guys is I forgot what he said. Snow something. Somebody in the chat hopefully will tell me. Let's continue.
you got to do an assessment. How materialistic is this person? Because I don't care how much Jesus they claim. I don't care how much Muhammad they claim. If they are caught up in how they look beyond what is acceptable, if they are overly attached to their public image, if they are overly attached to what they own and control, you are dealing with an emotionally unhealthy people. Your whole relationship will be a cycle of anger, fear,
Oh
depression.
yeah. Shout out to Gone Postal. He said call the white men snow puppies. Shout out to Gone Postal 28. Snow bunnies is the white women and snow puppies are the white men. So when black women talk to white men, he say that they talking to snow puppies. Shout out to the people in the chat.
Anger, fear, depression. And these people are so miserable and so spiritually unwise. So miserable and so spiritually unwise that they think the way to escape their anger, fear, and depression is to go buy more stuff. They're so spiritually unwise, they think the way to escape anger, fear, and depression is to go buy more stuff.
He's absolutely correct. He's 100% correct. A lot of these people that are most toxic, a lot of times they use this stuff as a shield, even for themselves. It's not even for us, right? Like, I've seen a guy, a rapper, I don't know him personally, but I've seen him, and he said that he had over 20-something cars. But he didn't have them as a collection. He had them in order to stun on other people, in order to say, you know what I'm saying, who you talking to, I got 20 cars. And it's not a substitute for the thing that he not, or the substitute for the thing that's difficult. You know, one of the most, I don't even think I got that book in there. Can you check that for me? Gucci Mane's book. A lot of people, they don't know. I read everything. I read David Goggins. I read Robert Kiyosaki. I read everything. Napoleon Hill, Tony Robinson, Jordan Peterson. I've read Kevin Hart's biography. I've even read Tiffany Haddish's biography. If you don't see it in there, then it's down at the office. Yeah, I took it down to the office. I read Gucci Mane's book from cover to cover in a few hours or whatever like that. It wasn't a difficult read. And it's a really good book. And I would advise people to actually go and read Gucci Mane's book, okay? Gucci Mane's book is phenomenal. And I think that what Dr. Umar Johnson is talking about right now is an exemplification of that. Because Gucci Mane, in order to deal with his issues and his problems prior to him going to jail and having to sit down and then come to a better understanding of what he needed to be in order to be successful going forward, he was on a spiral to death, right? And so he would drink more lean, he would buy more cars. If somebody say, yo, Gucci, why you ain't doing this or doing that? He would say, but Nas ain't got this kind of car, or something like that, right? And so if you read his book, honestly, Gucci Mane's book was really, really good. If you read his book, you would understand that what Dr. Umar Johnson is saying, in that people usually use material things. Now, it doesn't mean that materials or cars or clothes or whatever it is that you buy, it doesn't mean that it's a bad thing, right? It doesn't mean that everybody has to go super minimalistic in order to justify their life, right? Because that's silly. But what he's saying is that a lot of people will cover up the problems, the trouble, the issue, the scars, the things that they really deal with, instead of deep down diving into your character, your spirituality, and becoming a better person. What they do is they just buy more stuff in order to cover up for it and then justify what it is that they do. It's similar to these conversations that we having about these athletes and tricking and stuff. And they say, well, such and such is worth $70 million. And it's like, still don't make him any less of a trick. So, okay, so you a lame with money, or you a trick with money. You have more ability to be able to do the things that's worse for you, instead of becoming a better version of yourself, understanding that the money is a tool. It's just a tool. That's why when we talk about being bag chasers, bag chasing is becoming the best version of yourself, understanding that everything else comes with it. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else will come with it. Everything else will be, it's going to follow it. It's going to follow suit.
Maybe I need a better car. Maybe I need a bigger house. Maybe I need a woman with a fatter ass. Maybe I need a man with a better body. Maybe I need a new car. That's because they are caught up in the illusion of European capitalism. And the illusion of European capitalism, says happiness is a function of what you own. European capitalism, the psychology of European capitalism says happiness is a function of what you own and what you do.
It's not. European capitalism is you have the option to do what you want to do when you want to do it. That's the difference. And he's conflating arguments, and this is where we disagree. It's because they're trying to weaponize having money as a bad thing. The reality is that without European capitalism, he doesn't have the ability, the financial stability, the options, the opportunity to even be able to build his school. Without European capitalism and without the technology that's then developed as a result of capitalism, because when he tells people to hit the PayPal, that's literally as a result of European capitalists then building a system that allows for them to be able to take fees off the ability for you to exchange money and send it back and forth, similar to Cash App. PayPal, the very system that he's using to fund his expenditures in building that school, came as a result of European capitalism. Money is just a tool. European capitalism is giving you the option to do what you want to do when you want to do it. I can buy 5 more cars right now and go cash out of them. I choose to only buy one because that's what it is that I want. That's what I need in order for me to be able to justify how it is that I want to live my life. It's having the option, having resources with good character is having the option to do what you want to do when you want to do it. That's all it is. What you choose to do as a result of having the resources is then what separates you from good or bad. You can sleep with 5 women at one time. I choose to be a version of myself that I would want my daughter to marry.
According to the white power, this is the white man's pseudo-spirituality. The cave dwellers' pseudo-spirituality.
Halftime says PayPal was created by an African. Yeah, Elon Musk was one of the people that helped create PayPal, and Elon Musk was an African. I bet you didn't know that. I bet you didn't know that Elon Musk's roots, because I've read his autobiography also, is actually he's from Africa. He's a South African. PayPal was created by an African. Yeah, that's because Elon Musk was from Africa. He was one of the co-founders of PayPal. He was a part of PayPal Mafia, along with Peter Thiel and everybody else that wound up creating a platform. See, and this is why y'all can't finesse me. Y'all can't sit here and just throw shit at me. Oh no, PayPal was actually created by an African. Who you talking to, man? I've read the autobiography. I understand exactly how PayPal was created and by whom, where it originated. Come on, man. Hit me with something else.
Happiness is based on what you own and what you do. So when you come across Negroes who have been possessed by the demonic spirit of European capitalism, when you come across Negroes who have been possessed with the demon of European capitalism, you better run the other direction. You better run in the other direction. A Negro who is all about what I own and what I do is a miserable Negro. A miserable Negro. Oh, yes.
All while he's talking about reparations and building up the black community with the resources and money that he feels like the government owes. Okay.
First time I meet a sister, I'm looking at how important is the Louis bag.
Meanwhile, he still ain't gonna marry her, though. He ain't gonna marry her. Let me continue. I want to hear the rest of what it is that he got to say.
How important are the Steve Madden high heels?
Not Steve Madden.
If you got to walk.
I think that they want red bottoms right now. Not Steve Madden. They might be talking about the Christian Lubes. Maybe the red bottoms, but maybe not the Steve. I mean, Steve Madden is cool, but I don't think that that's what they're saying that that's important right now. Yeah, Umar Johnson is a little out of touch. Don't worry about it.
Walk out your house every day with a wig on your head, you are not at peace with God. If you got to walk out your house with a wig on your head every day, you are not at peace with your spirit. And if you are not at peace with yourself, you cannot be at peace with me. If we cannot be organically African together, if you have to be artificial every day of this relationship, if you have to be artificial every day of this relationship, if you have to be artificial every day of this relationship, this is a relationship I don't need.
Shout out to Dr. Umar Johnson. I think that was an excellent breakdown. And although I don't agree with everything that he's saying, I agree with the overwhelming majority of how it is that he used it and the reference points for it, especially when it comes to gangster rappers and stuff like that. Again, shout out to Dr. Umar Johnson. I wanted to give him an opportunity to be able to give me some value on this Juneteenth. Otherwise, we would have had to be talking about Roland Martin or Jesse Jackson or some other dumb junk like that. So shout out to Dr. Umar Johnson before we get into more materialism and capitalism. Let me read some of the super chats throughout the show because I want to highlight the people that support the platform. Shout out to Bitcoin Brown says we need old Doc to go ahead and get on the live stream with Time Dog. Come on, man. Y'all know that ain't happening. Dr. Umar Johnson is not coming on this live stream. It would be one of the highest viewed videos and help his audience too. You think we should reach out to Dr. Umar Johnson again, see if he want to come on the platform? All right, I'm going to let you do it this time. I don't think he's going to do it. Tell him we're going to pay him double of whatever it is that he asked for the last time. And we're going to put him in the best white hotels, the best white man hotels, the best flights, all of the good that So shout out to the doctor and tell him I'll throw him some softball questions too because I don't want him to feel like it's a debate. I want him to feel comfortable about what it is that we got going on. Shout out to Bitcoin Brown. Pat S5 says I was going to cover this on my channel this morning, but I didn't want to be so negative so early. Why not? Cover it. Azriel is in the building. Shout out to my girl Azriel says happy birthday or happy anniversary, Anton and Rita. Also, happy belated Father's Day, Anton. Your successful, loving marriage is an inspiration to us all. I've ran into Azriel so many different times, and she is such a lovely person with a sweet spirit. I love you, Azriel. Rita loves you too. Rita over here co-signing talking about, I love Azriel. Shadow Dragon TV says happy Father's Day to a real one. Happy anniversary to you and Rita. All my respect and support, big bro. Thank you to Shadow Dragon TV. Aaron says, Father's Day highlight. I started my 3-year-old son on reading his first chapter level book yesterday. That boy continues to make his father proud. Shout out to Aaron and all of the great fathers out here doing great things, that's taking care of their seed, that don't get the props that they deserve. You're going to get it on here, big dog. Dr. Waltz from Chicago says, confused and frustration bring anger. Dr. Waltz from Chicago, how is it dealing with patients over there in your home city, big dog? I'm just curious. I'm absolutely curious. You might have to jump on a Friday live stream, bro. AWOL says, a lot of ignorant people respond and react in anger. Find someone who can't read, write, or know arithmetic, and you'll find an angry person. Yes, and they're going to lash out repeatedly at the ones that actually do know reading, writing, and arithmetic. Bam Bam Lynch says, I hate everyone says I look like him. You sure do. You should have became famous first, Bam Bam. Now you got to eat that, big dog. Mike Jones is in the building. Says, Anton, you already covered the story about the fathers getting shot. You covered it after the Chicagoland shooting. Oh, okay. Thank you, Mike, for hitting me up on that. I appreciate it. Oh, Oh my God, we got Ash. Somebody said Ash is a high value man out here in these streets. I would agree with him. Ash says Willowbrook, southwest suburb of Chicago, 81% white, 14% Asian, and 2% black. An affluent community. Black communities in Chicago are run down, so they take their bad behaviors to other affluent locations. Juneteenth is another day for ninjas to strike each other out. Thanks, Biden. Hey, Rita. When we were riding through and we were looking at real estate inside of Birmingham, Michigan yesterday, which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, is quite possibly one of the most expensive communities in Michigan, period. What did I say about riffraff? I don't know if you remember what I said. You got to talk louder, baby.
If you can price yourself out of the riffraff.
I said that it is important to be able to price yourself out of the riffraff. Now, Ash is saying that they're going to take their Juneteenth celebrations to wherever they go. Ash, the neighborhoods and the streets were so quiet. They were so quiet. I said, man, I don't think it's no riffraff over here. All of the white people was waving to me in my Porsche. Shout out to them. Ash, but you are absolutely correct. They're going to find a way to go there. They just can't stay there. They can't sleep there. You know, when I see a certain demographic of people coming in, I be calling the police. I seen somebody moving the other day over in the neighborhood. I said, what kind of car they driving now? Because I got to know. I got to know who it is that's moving inside of the neighborhood, because I want to know if I need to be able to call the police. Am I going to have to smell weed smoke when I pull up? What is going on out here in these streets? Shout out to Ash for the 100 ball. I appreciate you, big dog. P. Shank is over here with the 2 ball. Thank you to P. Shank for holding me down. I appreciate y'all. Thank you to everybody that continue to contribute to the platform. Let's move on. I want to share this last thing with you guys. Because colleges are closing. Now, you know that we always get back to the money. I got to be able to add value into your life. Also, let me give a shout out to Ricardo Davey. $5 for congratulations on your 20 years. At 35, I celebrated, and then it kind of got cut off from there. So shout out to Mike, that dude, and shout out to Ricardo Davey on the Cash Apps. I appreciate you guys for holding me down. Thank you for everybody that contributes to the platform. I don't ask for it, but I absolutely appreciate it. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also, on top of that, make sure that you guys get that T-Chanley, 30% off your first order plus a free gift. I want to go ahead and get into this video, and then we're going to let y'all go for the day. All right?
Picture this. You are an 18-year-old college freshman out navigating the world for the first time. Your weeks are filled with classes, studying, dorm food, annoying roommates, and your weekends, well, it's college.
Also, let me give a shout out to Fox Sports, Undisputed, all of the Fox family over there. I reached out to them and asked them, could I use their content? I'm not going to tell y'all how I got in touch with them, but they don't give me no problems. They said, Anton, you can use what it is that you want as long as you give us credit. Shout out to all of the different platforms, the bigger platforms, the Fox Sports, the ESPNs, and all of that. That allow for me to be able to use their copyrighted content. I reached out to them, and they absolutely love me and look out for me, including MSNBC, CNBC, and all of these different platforms. We going about doing it the right way. Thank you guys for allowing us to be able to use your clips in your platforms.
Your first steps into adulthood, independence, the whole world is ahead of you. Then it's all over.
Reading super chat shortly.
One day, someone walks into class and tells you, we're so sorry, but your school is closing.
You know, Laker was honestly the perfect fit for me. I wanted to learn more, wanted to be outside more, wanted to do more just for myself, wanted to create more. I say college just was kind of a family away from family, but I definitely had to.
Where's Lincoln College? I'm curious where Lincoln College is.
Learn things, be knowledgeable, you know, and that was honestly the fun part. Because I think if I would have went to a big university, I don't think I would have lasted. I'll be honest. I think the small settings and all that kind of was a good fit for me.
Lincoln, Illinois. In 2022, Lincoln College, a predominantly black private college in central Illinois, shut its doors for good, graduating its last class following a post-COVID drop in enrollment and a ransomware attack the small school just couldn't bounce back from.
We thought Lincoln had the money. I'm gonna be truthful. We thought Lincoln was a well-funded school. I'm very emotional. It was very emotional. I just lost a lot of family. I was very lost. I was very lost after that.
Would they consider Lincoln College a historically black college since it's been around for 157 years and it was a primarily or predominantly black college? You know, people don't really understand endowments. They don't understand recruiting. They don't understand funding. They don't understand tuition. They think that colleges are just flush with money and that they should be able to accept anybody. I had seen a previous live stream where Dr. Umar Johnson talked about how colleges need to grow their own food and then recruit from the inner community. They don't understand the importance of getting international students and how much tuition international students pay that then boost up enrollment and boost up the funds for them to be able to build new buildings and technology and run the school and then teachers. It's a whole ecosystem of finances that then come along with colleges, and people don't fully understand it because they don't understand the money.
After Lincoln closed.
This is happening more and more across America. The pace of college closures has picked up since the COVID-19 pandemic and could get even worse. Here's why. Lincoln College is one of 91 U.S. private nonprofit colleges that have shut down or merged with another school since 2016, affecting more than 60,000 students, just like Disergion. This is part of a larger trend that's been picking up since the mid-2010s, with private schools leading public schools on annual closures. That's not including private for-profit schools, which made up more than 80% of college closures from 2004 to 2020. That's an entirely different issue. For now, let's focus on nonprofit colleges and universities. Of those 91 schools, half of them closed during or after 2020, and a whopping 68% of them closed because of financial reasons, with one consistent issue popping up: enrollment.
There are two significant issues that are affecting higher education right now, specifically through the admission and enrollment offices. Number one, it is the admission cliff, and that is the impending decline. We'll be graduating our lowest high school classes by population in 2025. And most enrollment professionals have been wringing their hands about this date of 2025, but many schools have seen those enrollment declines already. With the downturn in the economy that happened in 2007, 2008, there were simply less people born, but they were less people born specifically in different regions of the country. The North.
I think that these school closures is actually a good thing. I know a lot of people probably would disagree with that, or a lot of people would say, no, we need more schools, we need all of this other type of stuff. Like everything that happens within the economy that people don't understand, you adapt or die. And the market is the determining factor for whether or not your product should still exist or not. So, for example, you may have a whole lot of private colleges closing, but that actually enables people to be getting a better education and then make adjustments to move into other universities to where they can actually staff more effectively. Or, for example, other universities, public universities, could accept more students because they have a better system and more capacity to actually take more online students depending on the type of enrollment that they have, right? And so when you see adjustments, one of the things that we have to learn to do in this economy is to let the economy itself determine who survives and who thrives. One thing that they can't do, and I'll give you another example of where that fails, or where we fail as a nation to let that happen, and why the government always steps in, is when they say that the banks are too big to fail, right? Because if you just let it naturally evolve, or attrition, you'll start to see tightening up of regulation, who it is that they lend money to, how it is that they utilize things. But instead, they know that they're too big to fail. They know that it's important for the American economy or American government to instill confidence in the banking system. And so they don't let it naturally contract and expand according to its market value or the true desire from the people of whether or not they need it. They don't let capitalism truly take its place, which is one of the reasons why Republicans and conservatives actually are advocating for smaller government, or for government to have a smaller footprint, because when you let capitalism naturally take its course with a little bit of regulation, within a certain guideline, you will start to see actual more growth. You'll see more building, more growth, more economy, more functionality. You'll start to see people naturally go over to the different cities that are more productive, and so on and so forth. But what you start to see, for example, and one of the reasons why it's so good when it comes to colleges closing is because we had too many colleges raping students over the coals. And specifically when you have a private college, they didn't have as much regulation outside of getting accredited, and they could charge you whatever it is that they wanted, right? And so when students started to realize, or when the pandemic hit, or there's natural attrition, what happens is they start to move away from the things that's not best for them and make more informed decisions instead of taking on student loans. One of the reasons why the government, in my opinion, is not stepping in order to save a lot of these colleges is because the government is already under fire for forgiving student loans from a lot of these egregious universities that were overcharging you for liberal arts in the first place. And so even with colleges, right, there is still an economy, there is still a market, there is still money that is needed to be made. And a lot of people that have a vested interest in these colleges and these universities in order to make a lot of money as a result of you enrolling in it. And that's why it's so easy for you to get in some of these places instead of the prestigious places that will actually give you the better education and more opportunity to become more successful. But I got more on that in a minute. Let me continue.
Northeast, the Middle Atlantic states, and the Midwestern states. Right now, the majority of brick and mortar colleges and universities are in those places, but the population of students are no longer there. So admission teams have to think about enrollment by strategy. 95% of the majority of four-year colleges in the country, particularly private.
The pandemic is not the problem. The pandemic exposed the problem. Let me say that again. The pandemic ripped the Band-Aid off a lot of these businesses, colleges, industries, and places that wasn't supposed to continue to be in existence in the first place. When you seen the pandemic happen, all it did was exacerbate the results that was already going to happen or what was supposed to happen in the first place. As a matter of fact, I would even say that the pandemic was a blessing for eliminating the things that we didn't need. But then the government stepping in and giving a whole lot of incentives to businesses to then continue to stay afloat in order to try to justify and then continue to bolster the ranks of who was going to vote where, actually ruined what it was that we were supposed to experience so that we can get a market correction in every single industry that we lived in. Housing was overinflated, money became too cheap, and then that's when they started to having to raise the rates in order to continue to reduce inflation because they did not let the market determine what was supposed to happen. They artificially created what it was that we had going on, which then created the thing that we suffering from today. When you don't let the market naturally correct itself, you are then going to suffer in the long run. And that's when they start talking about government shutdown, $31 trillion in national debt. You can't fix the problem as long as you continue to put Band-Aids over it and then try to do things in order to get people to continue to vote for you because you need to stay in power. The natural market correction in most situations needs to be the thing that we need to focus on, which is why we need smaller government, more conservative policies, and then to remove all of the barriers for people to continue to be successful. When you enable other people to then be able to become successful by removing the barriers to entry, you actually create a better system for capitalism, and then you just put the little barriers around it to prevent people from doing things that's the worst for other people that's then embracing capitalism also, including the consumers, right? You want to allow for people to sell stuff, but you don't want to allow for them to harm people. That's where the guardrails are supposed to be when it comes to capitalism. But when you start to control what capitalism is by then incentivizing people and pushing them to do certain things, then that's when you then mess up the market and you don't truly get real capitalism, which is why I say the system ain't perfect, all right? I need to be the one that's running government, not these imbeciles that's in government.
Schools, but many public schools as well, are 95% tuition driven. So the idea of enrollment driving finances and financial health of those schools is a given for most colleges and universities. So take one of those away, then take away the idea of enrollment being a given, then finances at that particular school are called into question. And then the end result of that is we see some schools closing, particularly private schools.
2023.
And there should be more. There should be more closing because we got too many schools ripping people off, giving them these stupid degrees that ain't actually add value into their life. And now the government is the ones that's going to have to pay for it because now we're in the Supreme Court talking about student loan forgiveness.
Added a new layer of financial stress for already struggling schools, the removal of federal stimulus money. In the original wave of pandemic stimulus bills, Congress passed $14 billion in relief funds for colleges and universities in what was called the Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund. Those grants.
When you think about these Pell Grants, right, and you think about student aid and all of this other type of stuff, remove the student loans. Let's just talk about the incentives from like Pell Grants and all of that. Where do you think that money come from? Who do you think paying for it? Why do you think taxes are so high? When we talk about social services and these social programs, it's not just relegated to welfare. It's not just relegated to people getting food stamps and EBT cards or, getting Section 8 housing or, us continuing to give money to these special needs and programs and all of this other type of stuff in order to keep these voters in place so that they can become dependent on the government titty. It's also the taxes that you pay that's then distributed in the form of Pell Grants and everything else that the government gives you. Every single incentive in which the government gives you money, it comes from somewhere else or somebody that they're taking it from and then redistributing it to other people. What we see America devolving into right now is a socialist country. It's more taxes, less access, more red tape, more barriers to entry, less preventing the market from determining what people really want. And then we're going to artificially stimulate it and juice it up so that we can then create more problems that we have to solve for later on down the road.
Grants must be spent by mid-2023.
Things are getting more and more challenging as the year progresses in terms of enrollment, in terms of operating performance, including the inflationary environment, labor market, you name it. It's a reflection of, I think, an unsustainable operating platform, meaning a heavy reliance on tuition, which can't always keep up with inflation. It can't always keep up with, erosion in enrollment, can't keep hiking tuition sticker price in the hopes that the net residual, once you account for scholarship and discounting and the like, is going to be enough to sort of offset your growing expense base. And so I think that's the internal piece that in many cases is unsustainable.
When I initially looked at it, the appeal of a small Christian liberal arts college in New York City was really high for me.
I got a chance to visit New York City and Kings the summer before my junior year of high school, and I fell in love with both the city and the school and had it be my top school of choice.
I don't even know what King's College is. I don't know where it is. I don't even know where these places are.
The quintessential New York college experience has also been incredibly fulfilling in the past 2 years as well. Whether it's going to Central Park on the weekends or finding that one really good local coffee shop to be my go-to study spot.
Remember those numbers we showed you earlier? More than 36 schools have shut their doors, merged, or announced plans to close since the pandemic. 20 of those schools were religious institutions.
Which they should, because anybody going over to get a theology degree is a problem too.
2016, 44% of college closures have been religious schools. While many were already struggling before 2020, COVID was the final push for many religious schools.
You see how I'm saying that the market is actually doing a correction, a positive correction? Every time something happens, every time that there's a recession, every time, and again, I encourage y'all, or I try to empower y'all in order to make the best decision and prepare yourself to capitalize off of the recession, because somebody is going to capitalize off of it. But every time that there's a correction in what's happening in society, it's not a bad thing. Sometimes it's a really, really good thing. And so y'all got to stop thinking that just because there's a correction that's an issue. It's an opportunity, and most people just can't capitalize off of it. It's no reason why we should have all of these religious institutions, especially higher education. I'll get more into that in a minute.
In financial trouble.
I had a little bit of a unconventional way of realizing, because I was on the editorial team of our independent student newspaper. A couple of stories started breaking where, for lack of a better idiom, I smelled blood in the water.
The King's College, a private Christian college in the heart of New York City, is yet another private school plagued with financial issues, enrollment declines, and bad business dealings that left it on the brink of closure. Last fall, the school started what it called right-sizing, laying off staff, closing down the student union, and selling off office spaces.
And it was stories like our singular on-campus property being put up for sale, It was a on-campus housing location in the financial district that I was slated to live in that next school year.
Then, in the spring of 2023, the school announced it would need $2.6 million to make it to the end of the semester.
And that's when you know that something is on the brink of disaster, when they start begging for money as a result of it. Let me say this, because I don't feel like I need to go through this entire video in order to justify what it is that I'm having a conversation about right now. College is not a bad thing. Trade schools aren't a bad thing. Whenever you're making a decision, because a lot of y'all have kids that's growing up. I have a 15-year-old daughter that's going into the 10th grade. And so, you know, we've already kind of established, and we've been having that conversation since she was a little girl, about what her future looks like. And I don't want to discuss that on this live stream because it's not necessary. But let me say this. College is absolutely not a bad thing. It's a phenomenal thing, but you need to plan for it more effectively. You can minimize costs. You can, and it's not even necessary. I don't think that even taking out student loans are a bad thing. But what people get caught up in is the same thing that we get caught up in when it comes to materialism, when it comes to buying a home. It's the same thing that we get caught up in when it comes to credit. Most people just want to be in the game. It's a lot of young people today that only went to college because everybody else was going to college. And so they made the decision to go there. Even the specific colleges that they went to, they made a decision to go there only because they were peer pressured into doing so. Some of y'all went to college, or it's a lot of y'all as parents that are proud of your kid because they're going to be the first person to go to college. That's not enough. That's the method from yesteryear to then justify how it is that we're operating today that may or may not be conducive for the direction of where your child needs to be. You're so proud of the idea that they're going to be the first person to go to college instead of the context as to what they're going to be studying when they go. Just because they go is not enough anymore. Going to college and getting a degree, being the first person to graduate and all of that in order to get that degree on your wall and all of that other type of stuff. What's the goal? What's the long-term objective and the goal? And again, we can use the data and the statistics and we can say, okay, well, people that go to college historically make more than $1 million more than people that don't, right? True. But if you're going to go to college, which I do think you should go to college, it's a way in which you can go about doing it. If you don't get the scholarships, right? Maybe you shouldn't be going to a private college because this is more expensive. Maybe you need to start off at community college so you can do your core classes before you start getting into your true curriculum, right? Maybe you can go to a major university and afford it. Maybe it's important for you based off of what you're studying to be able to take out those student loans, but because you're going into a STEM field or because you're trying to become a practicing physician, or maybe you want to be a dentist, maybe you want to be an engineer, whatever it is that you want to be, maybe you can justify that, but then you have to have a strategy for when you come out of college or how much you're going to take on in student debt. Maybe you should be able to have a job, or maybe the curriculum is too strenuous for you to have a job, and so you do have to depend on those student loans in order to become successful. Student loans aren't necessarily a bad, as long as they're a true investment in your future. Don't overborrow, don't borrow more than you have to. Maybe you need to stay in state instead of out of state because the tuition is much cheaper for you to be able to do so. And so the conversations that we have can't be in a vacuum. We can't just say, oh, okay, well, student loans are bad or college is bad. It's not. It's not. The context by which we use these conversations in order to justify our actions or push our children, or the way that we were pushed into a specific field, it don't work that way no more. We need more understanding. We need more growth. We need more true conversations that allow for us to make the decisions that's in our best interest. And the only way that we're going to do that is to educate ourselves. It's like voting without truly understanding the policies of the candidates or what it is that they're going to implement and how it is that they can work with other legislative branches. Just because you voted don't mean nothing. It didn't mean that your vote didn't count. It just means that you operated out of ignorance and you weren't educated as to why it is that you were doing the thing that you were supposed to do in the first place. Just going to college is not enough. Just voting is not enough. Just getting a job is not enough. Just becoming or making $100,000 is not enough. It doesn't mean that you're not going to owe a lot in taxes. It doesn't mean that you don't understand the tax code and that you're going to be really taking home $67,000 a year after you make $100,000. And most people that make six figures are actually one paycheck away from being homeless. It's still true. the understanding the context and then having these conversations in its totality and not just depending on the idea of college or the idea of starting a business or the idea of voting or the idea of being a liberal or conservative. It's always the understanding that allows for you to be more successful. So the more informed that you are, the better decisions that you can make. And then the more you can start asking the questions that you didn't even know that you needed to ask in order to better educate yourself as to the direction that you're supposed to be going or the direction that your children are supposed to be going. And so hopefully you guys got a lot out of this. Let me read a couple more super chats and then we're going to get up out of here because I try to add as much value into your life, having conversations about multiple different subjects, understanding that it all comes back down to the money. Okay. Again, let me read a couple more super chats. Mr. Youngblood City is in the building. I appreciate you. Mr. Youngblood City says, happy anniversary. Love you both. You are the improved tree father. Oh, you remember that. That's what they called my father. My father was called Tree Father because of the roots that he had and the fruit that he bared from everybody else that he poured into in his life. So many people have started channels because of you. Thanks for the inspiration. Thank you to Mr. Youngblood City. I appreciate you and thank you for the 20 ball. Tailored by Nature says, the so-called English language, the language, aka programming that's causing the stress. Imagine wearing a custom suit that's not designed for you. You will never be comfortable wearing it. I'm not sure exactly what you're emphasizing here. Are you saying that we should devolve or divest ourselves from the English language because it's not fit for us? Interesting conversation. Let me read a couple more super chats and then I'm gonna get y'all up out of here. Silver Lion says colleges will keep closing to the point of only the affluent will go to college and most people will become workers or dependent upon the government. I disagree with that. I don't think that. I think that we have too many institutions that were created during a boom. But I think that most people will still go to college. They just will become more informed and make better decisions as to what college they go to and how much money they spend as a result of it. Thank you for the super chat. Brock says, pass the love offering. Happy anniversary to yourself and Mrs. Rita. And happy Father's Day to you as well. You are greatly appreciated, bro, for real, for real. Thank you, Brock. You always been holding me down and you always contribute to the platform every single day. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thank y'all for being my friends. Thank y'all for being my family. Thank you for rocking out with Teach Hanley. 30% off your first order plus a free gift. That link is in the description. And then also, more importantly, make sure you join the Patreon because I am dropping an exclusive video this week, including an interview and a video that's tailored for you to continue to get your bag and get your money. And you know I always come with the receipts. If you have not already, make sure you hit a like on your way out the door. It is my anniversary, so I am about to go out and party with my friends. We are doing a live stream tonight. Q is going to be in the building. You know that Monday night panel be fire. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, but I need y'all to do me one more favor before we get up out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for sharing this with your family and friends because we don't want to be rich by ourselves. I love you. I appreciate you. No negative energy. No problems, no trouble. You see Dusties, you divest yourself from them. We continue to work. But I also, again, need y'all to share this with your family and friends because we want to continue to help people and help them elevate and become successful just like us. Again, if you have not joined a Patreon, I would encourage you to do so. We have great things in there, and then tap into the Discord. The link to the Discord is in the description of any of the most recent videos. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to see y'all tomorrow. Actually, I'm going to see y'all tonight. Anton Daniels. Peace.